Treasure Hunters, Book 1, by James Patterson and Chris Grabenstein. A quick note from Big Kid. Just so you know, I'm the one who will be telling you the story, but my twin sister Beck, who's wickedly talented and should go to art school and show her stuff in a museum or something, will be doing the drawings, like this one. I'm telling you this up front because even though we're twins, Beck and I don't always see everything exactly the same way. For instance, I know I don't look like the way she drew me. I'm 12. I don't have a mustache or an eye badge, so don't believe everything you see. Fine. Beck says I have to tell you not to believe everything I see either. Whatever. Can we get on with the story? Good. Hang on tight. Things are about to get hairy and wet. Very, very wet. Prologue. Lost at Sea. 1. Let me tell you about the last time I saw my dad. We were up on deck rigging our ship to ride out what looked like a perfect storm. Well, it was perfect if you were the storm, not so much if you were the people being tossed around the deck like wet gym socks in a washing machine. We had just finished taking down and tying off the sails so we could run on bare poles. Lash off the wheel, my dad barked to my big brother Tailspin Tommy. Steer to leeward and lock it down. On it! Tommy yanked the wheel hard and pointed our boat downwind. He looped a bungee cord through the wheel's wooden spokes to keep us headed in that direction. Now get below, boys. Batten down the hatches. Help your sisters man the pumps. Tommy grabbed hold of whatever he could to steady himself and made his way down to the deckhouse cabin. Just then a monster wave lurched over the starboard side of the ship and swept me off my feet. I slid across the slick deck like a hockey puck on ice. I might have gone overboard if my dad hadn't reached down and grabbed me a half second before I became shark bait. Time to head downstairs, Beck, my dad shouted in the raging storm as rain slashed across his face. No! I shouted back. I want to stay up here and help you. You can help me more by staying alive and not letting the lost go under. Now hurry! Get below! But, go! He gave me a gentle shove to propel me up to the tilting deck. When I reached the deckhouse, I grabbed onto a handhold and swung myself around it through the door. Tommy had already headed down to the engine room to help with the bilge pumps. Suddenly, a giant sledgehammer of salt water slammed into our starboard side and sent the ship tipping wildly to the left. I heard wood creaking. We tilted over so far it fell against the wall while our port side slapped the churning sea. We were going to capsize, I could tell. But the loss righted itself instead, the ship tossing and bucking like a very angry beach whale. I found the floor and shoved the deckhouse hatch shut. I had to press my body up against it. Waves kept pounding against the door. The water definitely wanted me to let it in. That wasn't going to happen. Not on my watch. I cranked the door's latch to bolt it tight. I would, of course, reopen the door the instant my dad finished doing whatever else needed to be done up on deck and made his way off to the cabin. But for now, I had to stop the loss from taking on any more water, if that was even possible. The sea kept churning, the loss kept lurching, the storm kept sloshing, seawater through every crack and crevice I could find. Me, I started panicking because I had a sinking feeling as in, we're gonna sink, that this could be the end. I was about to be drowned at sea. Is 12 years old too young to die? Apparently the Caribbean Sea didn't think so. Number 2. I waited and waited, but my dad never made it aft to the deckhouse cabin door. Through the forward windows I could see waves crashing across our bobbing bow. I could see the sky growing even darker. I could see a life preserver rip free from its rope and fly off the ship like a donut-shaped frisbee. But I couldn't see Dad. I suddenly realized that my socks were soaked with the seawater that was slopping across the floor, and I was up on the main deck. Back! I cried out. Tommy? Storm? My sisters and brother were all down in the lower cabins and equipment rooms, where the water was undoubtedly deeper. They were trapped down there. I dashed down the 4 steep steps into the whole quarters as quickly as I could. The water was up to my ankles, then my knees, then my thighs, and finally my waist. You ever try to run across the shallow end of a swimming pool? That's what I was up against, but I had to find my family. Well, what was left of it. I trudged from door to door frantically searching for my siblings. They weren't in the engine room, the galley, or in my parents' cabin. I knew they couldn't be in the room because its solid steel door was locked tight and it was totally off limits to all of us. I slogged my way forward as the ship kept rocking and rolling from side to side. Whatever wasn't nailed down was stumbling around inside the cupboards and cabinets. I heard cans of food banging into plastic dishes that were knocking over clinking coffee mugs. I started pounding on the walls in the narrow corridor with both fists. The water was up to my chest. "Hey, you guys! Tommy, back to storm! Where are you?" No answer. Of course, my brother and sisters probably couldn't hear me because the tropical storm outside was screaming even louder than I was. Suddenly, up ahead, a door burst open. Tommy was 17 and had the kind of bulging muscles you only get from crewing on a sailing ship your whole life. Had just put his shoulder to the wood to bash it open. "Where's Dad?" he shouted. "I don't know," I shouted back. That's when Beck and my big sister Storms trudged out of the cabin that was now their waterlogged bedroom. A pair of 3D glasses was floating on the surface of the water. Beck plucked them up and put them on. She'd been wearing them most of the time ever since our mom disappeared. "Was Dad in the safety line?" asked Storm, sounding as scared and worried as I was. All I could do was shake my head. Beck looked at me, and even though her 3D glasses were shading her eyes, I could tell she was thinking the same thing I was. We're twins, it happens. In our hearts we both knew that Dad was gone. Because anything up on deck hadn't been tied down, had been washed overboard by now. From the sad expressions on their faces, I knew Storm and Tommy had figured it out too. Maybe they were looking out a porthole when that life preserver went flying by. Shivering slightly, we all moved together to form a close circle and hug one another tight. The four of us were the only family we had left. Tom, who'd been living on boats longer than any of us, started mumbling an old sailor's prayer. "The death wits off the bow will not answer to him now." I hoped he was right, but I had a funny feeling death might not take no for an answer.